All right, everyone, welcome to this video. Whoever you are, wherever you are, however you got here, I appreciate you being here and lending an ear. My name is Sarah, and I just want to share my thoughts on fostering experiential knowledge of modern creativity, conceptualizing the sandbox style creativity development studio. I thought the perfect gateway into this topic would be a quote by Dr. Seuss. If you never did, you should. These things are fun, and fun is good. Dr. Seuss is one of the most creative people on the planet, in my opinion, and one of my personal heroes. So let's get into it. Let's learn some terms really fast. Creativity. For this video, I've provided my scholarly definition of creativity, but I encourage you, use your own definition of creativity and keep that at the forefront of your mind for this little video here. Second, experiential learning. Quite simply, that's learning by doing. An active process, it's two parts, involves an experience as well as a reflective analysis period. So the experience serves as the opportunity for learning and expansion of understanding, where that reflective analysis period is what enables that grounded integration of those new skills and knowledge. So sandbox style design, that's a gaming term for my 90s kids. If you ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon, that free play mode, that sandbox mode, that's what we're talking about here. It's an open access from the very beginning to the entire world of the game, generally absent of set gameplay narratives as well. So you do what you want, you have the resources, less constrictive. Authentic leadership, that's a style of leadership that involves a pattern of leader behavior that promotes greater self-awareness, balanced processing of information, and relational transparency. All right, so let's kind of review the literature here, go over that quickly, and I'll show you my synthesis process, and we'll get to that model. The history of creativity, it's murky and it's muddy, and that's what we've been working. A lot of recent creativity research has just been working to clear the baggage and the cloudiness of what it means to be creative. Who can we consider creative? What can we call creative? It all boils down to everybody is creative. We are all creative and all have creative potential within us. So we're moving away from the common misunderstanding of creativity as something that's only for certain types of people, or something that's beyond the average human perception, so less attributed to godliness and things like that. It's an everyday thing we're all capable of. And we've also begun to come whole circle and start to consider the negatives that can come with creativity, because historically and previously we've tended to be biased towards only discussing what positives can come of that. So in addition, we're also asking what makes us more creative. And while there are studies out there about personality types and things like that make us more creative, I want to focus, especially for the purpose of developing a model, I want to focus on those things that are applicable across the general human experience. So not many things are applicable to all human beings. So there's not a lot, but they are important when you're thinking about building, a standardized system of developing creativity. So that's going to be our authentic leadership and our communication of experience. These two things really help to play on our motivations of creativity, and are going to help bridge the gap and help us adjust and transition our motivations now that we understand creativity as something that we all can do and we all should do. Experiential learning and sandbox style design, I love this combination of these two things. Sandbox style design is the perfect conduit, the perfect container for those experiential learning opportunities. You can see how the sandbox style design is mirrored in experiential learning's emphasis on an open approach, absent of specified rules or behaviors, that need to be exhibited. So you can see how sandbox style design holds perfect space for those experiential learning opportunities. And they both fit really well into the constantly changing nature of creativity, because they are fairly adaptable things. So what do I say all that to say? What's the big picture here? Well, creativity is complicated, but if there's one thing we know it's important to our overall well-being as humans. And recent creativity research has done a lot of work to evolve the way we understand creativity, but we're lacking a clear lived understanding of this new information. So in order for us to keep moving forward, we have to start to creating those opportunities for people to gain experiential knowledge of modern creativity. This, for me, is where the idea of the Creativity Development Studio comes in, or CDS, right? So what is that? A sandbox-style environment that facilitates multi-dimensional creative experiences. And I see these facilities as being integrated into our society similar to the way that libraries and physical fitness gyms have been integrated. So the concept and the model of the Creativity Development Studio is meant to just be a frame, filled in and filled out by its operational systems. The operational systems are still working concepts. Okay, so it's a complicated thing, so there's still moving pieces, but I've broken it down into 3 parts here. So it includes the physical environment, the mental set, as well as the physical set. So the mental set, there's not much we need to or can do for this. A lot of this is going to be brought into the environment by the person that's coming into the studio. However, we can offer bridges. We can offer helpful tools for people to develop and shift, their own mental set and their own perspective to align more with these modern creativity views. And we can do that by applying those things such as our authentic leadership. The difference here between our physical environment and our physical set, when we think physical environment, think architecture, interior design, location, things like that. Physical set is more the opportunities that are provided within the space, right? So what opportunities are available? A CDS should provide opportunities for exploration and open availability of various equipment and resources. So we want to provide as many potential possible experiences as possible. As many experiences as we can, we want to make available to people within these environments. So that means we need to fill these spaces with combinations of like music studios, musical instruments, art supplies in studios, movement studios. There's a wide range of potentiality here. So some other things to consider as we do continue to develop this model of the Creativity Development Studio is that this model, like I said before, is sort of bare bones, but it's meant this way to allow flexibility in as many of the design elements as possible, to allow adaptation into various community settings. We want them to be able to settle perfectly into its community space. So we want to make as many aspects of the design and the structure flexible as possible. So a sandbox style design also, one thing to consider with this sandbox style design is that it's being applied to a co-creative environment. So in sandbox, we want to place minimal amounts of limitations. But because it's co-creative, we might have to add more limitations than we would if it was just one person using a space, but we do want to make sure these are minimized. So minimized to safety. We don't want to be putting any unnecessary limitations, but we do want to make sure that everybody is safe and secure in the space. So other things to consider is accessibility. These facilities should absolutely and very importantly should be accessible across the board. Equal access is key here. Socioeconomic status, culture, race, gender, creed, whatever. Everybody has equal access to these facilities, and that's going to take significant cultural and financial planning, as well as just the running of a business in general. And it's also these places are going to take large multidisciplinary development teams, 1, to develop the concept, and 2, to develop each individual studio. So they are large-scale projects, but they are important. It's important to continue to develop models such as the Creativity Development Studio because it's important for us how to learn to be creative. Why? Because of what can happen once we learn to be creative. It's only the tip of the iceberg, right? So I'll leave you with a quote by Victor Pinchuk: "Art, freedom, and creativity will change society faster than politics." So it's more than just wanting people to make art and have more fun. It's about the potentiality, for what we can do once we learn how to be creative. So once again, thank you guys so much for listening, and remember, everyone is creative, even you.